Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. Everything seems to be aligning in a favorable direction. Despite the turbulence and emotional ups and downs that many people have felt over the past several days, there is now a genuine sense of cautious optimism starting to emerge. This optimism isn't based on mere speculation or empty rhetoric. It is rooted in real, observable progress and data that suggest forward momentum. The sentiment, while hopeful, is also realistic. It acknowledges the hardship and uncertainty that was present not long ago, but pairs that acknowledgement with a recognition that the current indicators are positive and meaningful. Over the last few days, many individuals, especially those closely following the economic developments in Iraq or watching key reforms take place, have experienced a high level of emotional strain. These weren't just ordinary days. They were filled with rumors, political tension, sudden media reports, fluctuating statements from government officials, and moments of silence that felt heavy with uncertainty. At times, it felt like the entire situation could tilt in any direction. That emotional instability was draining for many, as they watched every bit of news, tried to interpret policy changes, and attempted to make sense of what might come next. However, now that the dust is beginning to settle, a more tempered and balanced tone is emerging. It's not about exuberance or premature celebration. It's about composure, clarity, and confirmation that the worst might be behind us and that constructive movement is underway. In situations like these, where financial or political change is unfolding, the human tendency is to oscillate between hope and despair. And in the recent past, the weight of uncertainty leaned heavily toward the anxious side. People began to doubt whether progress was still being made. They questioned if key reforms were stalling or if geopolitical dynamics were interfering too much. This kind of stress isn't just psychological. It affects decision-making, confidence in institutions, and public morale. But now, thanks to recent disclosures, reports, and data indicators, it is becoming evident that things are not standing still. On the contrary, the movement is forward, and although it may be slow and calculated, it is deliberate and meaningful. That kind of movement means that those who have been anxiously watching can start to breathe more easily. It doesn't mean all concerns are gone or that challenges won't continue to surface. It means that there's a foundation beneath us now, a level of confirmation that the process is on track, however gradual that track may be. There's also a psychological dimension to all of this that can't be overlooked. People respond to clarity. When progress is vague or hidden, even good developments can feel like stagnation. But once transparency increases and tangible outcomes start appearing, whether in policy announcements, regulatory reforms, digital payment expansion, or narrowing currency exchange rate gaps, then people begin to regain confidence. That's exactly what is beginning to happen now. The clarity is coming into view. The metrics are pointing in the right direction. Confidence is slowly being restored. And let's talk more about the data itself. While the full picture has yet to unfold, there have been strong indications from various economic reports, central bank policies, and regulatory updates that the intended financial reforms are not only intact but accelerating. Whether we are talking about enhanced electronic payment systems, the increased role of digital platforms in public transactions, the narrowing of currency rate differentials, or the stabilization of import-export mechanisms, each of these signs suggests intentional progress. These are not abstract changes. They are concrete, measurable developments that signal to both domestic and international observers that Iraq is not regressing. It is adapting, restructuring, and building toward long-term sustainability. And that long-term vision is key. For those who have felt anxious, the last few days might have felt like years. But real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, a long and often painful one, that requires sustained commitment, bold leadership, and a patient population. The difficulty of the last few days, in that sense, may turn out to have been a critical test of resilience. And passing that test doesn't mean everything is solved. It means that despite turbulence, people did not lose faith entirely. They waited, they questioned, they challenged narratives, but they also listened, learned, and adjusted. And now, their endurance is being rewarded with genuine signs of progress. So yes, it's fair to say the mood is tempered. That's the right word for it. It reflects balance, caution, and a refusal to overreact to either good or bad news. But within that tempered tone, there's unmistakable positivity. There's relief, and there's cautious optimism. The outcome so far is undeniably leaning in a good direction. The reforms are holding. The changes are manifesting. The data is supporting the story that has been told, that Iraq is moving forward, slowly but surely, and those who understand the terrain are beginning to see that this is not a fantasy but a strategic shift with deep-rooted intent. It's also worth acknowledging the human impact of this moment. Behind every report, behind every statement about monetary policy or digitalization or financial restructuring, there are real people, families, investors, civil servants, merchants, and ordinary citizens who are living through this. Their hopes and fears matter. And when we say the last few days were tough, it's not just about policy uncertainty. It's about people wondering if they'll be able to provide for their families, if the value of their currency will hold, if their businesses will survive. When progress is announced or data supports a positive trend, it brings more than economic benefit. It brings emotional and psychological relief. That matters deeply in any society undergoing reform. So what comes next? That remains to be seen. But based on what we're seeing right now, the picture is improving. The situation is evolving in the right direction. The storm may not be fully over, but the skies are clearing. And those who have walked through the rain are now beginning to see the light. They aren't running ahead blindly. They are walking steadily, eyes open, minds alert, hearts cautiously hopeful. In the end, this moment is not just about numbers. It's about trust. Trust in the process. Trust in leadership. Trust in reform. And that trust is built one step at a time, through consistency, transparency, and results. Right now, it looks like that trust is being earned. And that's why, for the first time in days, people are starting to feel good again, not euphoric, but grounded. Not reckless, but ready. That's a powerful place to be. And from that place, real transformation can happen. Thanks for tuning into Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.